Starting a new account in Raid Shadow Legends gets you access to unbelievably powerful promo codes, and these will give you really strong champions straight from the start. In fact, starting a new account is sometimes even better than playing on an older account because you might not have access to these amazing champions on an older account. The question is though, if you start a new account, which is the best beginner promo code and which one should you choose for your gameplay? Well, I'm going to be breaking down the pros and cons of all of these champions, helping you to decide which one to use on a new account. And warning, you can only use one of these codes and it has to be within 24 hours of starting a new account. And as a quick heads up, by the end, I'll have a nice little tier list for you to rely on when you make new accounts in Raid Shadow Legends. So make sure you save this video for whenever you feel like you want to make a new account in Raid. And before we get there, make sure to scan my QR code above my head or click the link in the description, because doing so will get you access to all of these champions for free as you level up as well on top of one of these legendary champions. So out of all of these champions, which one is the best? First up, we have Tohanarak, which can be used with the code Desert Queen. Tohanarak is a very good Hydra champion and great in most dungeons, even hard mode dungeons. So if you need a good Void support for the mid to late game, then yeah, you could consider this champion. Just keep in mind that if you do that, then you're not going to have a really good attack champion for the early game that you could get with a different code. So if you're good at the early game already, you're not worried about that, and you're focused more on the end game, then honestly Tohanarak is quite a good choice, and you can get her by using the promo code Desert Queen when you start a new account. So you can go here. So definitely an A tier choice. Absolutely. Next, we move on to Sun Wukong. This is one of the most popular promo code champions for new players in Raid Shadow Legends, and there is a good reason why. He's an absolutely amazing arena champion. You get a 28% ally speed boost in arena, which is really powerful. Obviously, Arbiter has a 30% boost, but unless you're going to speedrun Arbiter from the start, you're probably not going to get your hands on her until quite later on in the game. So having that off the start is so strong for cruising through arena really easily. But not only that, Sun Wukong is really good in pretty much every other element of gameplay as well. Faction Wars, Campaign, Hydra, Minotaur's Labyrinth. He can solo Minotaur's Labyrinth very fast, which is going to help you farm masteries. He's very good in most areas of the game as well, although he does have some weaknesses in some dungeons, specifically Ice Golem's Peak and the Fire Knights, because he doesn't have many good high multi-attack hits. But one of the greatest things about Wukong that does still make him really good even into the late game is the fact that when you get him ascended to level 3, he will revive every 3 turns after he's eliminated, and he will just keep using this over and over again. He will keep reviving and keep providing power to your squad, which is really good in clan boss. It's really good in arena. It's really good in all sorts of areas of gameplay. In my opinion, Sun Wukong is an easy S tier, probably the best choice for most players, especially if you want a quick start with a champion that's still going to be useful in the late game. And to get that, you just type Monkey King. Now, what about Alice the Wanderer? This is the next promo champion that you could get your hands on. And with this, you have another attack champion. So same kind of role as Sun Wukong. And there are some pros and cons to both. I think in most cases, Sun Wukong is a better choice, but Alice the Wanderer still can be pretty good in some cases. She's a very good all-round damage dealer, and she could definitely be your main attack hero. Trouble is, to get the most out of her, you really need some good gear. You're going to need 100% crit rate, which is quite common, but you also need high crit damage, because if you don't, she's not going to output enough damage. And also, unfortunately, she needs good accuracy, which some attack champions don't need too much, but she needs that and speed as well. So you need some good gear to make the most out of her. But personally, as a player that has played for a long time, I like Alice in most areas of play because she's a really strong nuker champion, and I personally find that more useful than Wukong, who struggles to get as much damage out on single targets when you have the right stats for her. The way to kind of explain it, I suppose, is Alice the Wanderer is really good at focusing on eliminating single targets, so certain bosses, and in my opinion, it's a bit more specific. I think overall Sun Wukong is S tier, Alice is probably A tier. To get Alice, if you do want her, funnily enough, you just type get Alice. Next, we have Tholan Fowlbeard, another attack champion. He's a very, very new one, so people's opinions of him are not quite too clear yet. I think Sun Wukong's better. I think Alice is better. I think that he lacks the damage. His A1 specifically doesn't scale too well with extra attack stats as well as it should do, in my opinion. He does have one quite unique feature, is that his passive will activate his A1 as soon as he gets a 5th turn. So basically he gets more attacks out. But to really get the most out of him, you really need to push out a lot of attack percent on him. And it's just quite hard to really get that much power out of his gear. You need a lot of good gear. And if you're starting a new account, you're not going to get that for a long time. So in my personal opinion, I think Tholin is a bit of a letdown, especially for new to mid-game players. So he's a B tier for me, and I would highly recommend considering Wukong or Alice. If you really like the look of him, or you just want a nice legendary dwarf champion, though, you can get your hands on him with the code DEMONSLAYER. Next, we have Green Warden Rourke. Now, the thing is about this champion, he's actually a really good defense champion, and if you build him right, he's going to keep your team alive when they really shouldn't be. So that can be good in arena. It can be good in different areas of gameplay. But overall, you can see that his ratings aren't really that great. And when you choose between a defense champion or an attack champion, it just doesn't make sense when you only get to choose one. You want to go for that attack. You want to go for that star that's going to be on your account and be useful from beginning to end. And this, he just quite lacks. But I just in case you do want to use him for whatever reason, you can go here and put in the code TreeHugger. But I'd highly recommend against it. I don't think he's a very good champion. And for that, I'm going to put him in C tier. Next, we have Loki the Deceiver, a support champion in the Barbarians. He's a spirit support, so not quite as good as Tohanarak. However, I do think there are some cases where Loki is really, really worth picking up, and it depends on the kind of gameplay you want to go for. Do you want to play a lot of arena, live arena? Then Loki might actually be a better choice than Wukong or Tohanarak. And the reason for it is he keeps your team alive when they really shouldn't be. He's a really, really good champion because he can evade attacks and put perfect veil on himself and his teammates, which means they can't be targeted by single attacks. He is really hard to kill when he's built right, which makes him really good for the end game in arena and live arena, but he's also good in other areas as well. Now, if you want to play a lot of arena and try and get into platinum, for example, or really high in a live arena, then yeah, go for it. But just keep in mind that you're going to need to start off and try and work really hard to get Arbiter as soon as possible. If you're an experienced raid player and you know how to get Arbiter and you're able to speedrun it, then you may want to just go for Kale and go for Loki with the code GETLOKI, because he's really, really good if you put him in the right scenarios and you are aware of the fact that doing so will mean that early game is going to be a little bit more difficult. So the code for that is GETLOKI. He's definitely an A tier. Next, we have another defense champion, Sigman the High Shield. And just like Green Warden Rourke, he's just not very good in comparison to the other attack champions. And there's not really any reason why you'd want to use his code, to be honest, when there are so many better choices. He's not bad, but compared to other legendary champions, he's pretty bad. And he's not going to provide you much use in the early game or the late game. So he's pretty much skippable. To me, he's just a straight up D tier. But if you do want to get him for whatever reason, you can use the code mid-game top. So, with that being said, here's a look at my tier list for all of the beginner promo codes in Raid Shadow Legends. Remember that you need to make a new account to get access to these codes, and you have to use the code within 24 hours of starting your new account. If you're playing on Plarium Play, make sure you log out first before you click my link in the description, and that way it will make sure that it's registered. And if you're playing on mobile, you need to find a mobile device that's never played the game before or it won't work. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the comments. Cheerio.